Welcome to NGCon Online Academy. In this lecture, we will be discussing the MCQs of Sunday Test 4, that is full course first year chemistry. The first MCQ says, number of oxygen atoms in 60 grams of NaOH. So given mass of NaOH is 60 grams, molar mass of NaOH is 40 grams. So it equals 1.5 moles of NaOH. Now if we look at one molecule of NaOH, so in one molecule of NaOH we get one oxygen atom. So what is the number of oxygen in 1.5 moles? So 1.5 multiplied by Avogadro's number is the number of oxygen atoms. In the formation of 1 mole of HCl gas, how many liters of H2 are required? So let's construct a balanced chemical equation. We have H2 plus Cl2 and it gives us 2HCl. Now according to balanced chemical equation, 2 moles of HCl are formed by 1 mole of H2. Now if we are forming 1 mole of HCl, it would require 0.5 moles of H2. So now we have to convert these moles into volume. So moles multiplied by 22.4 decimeter cube would give us the volume. So it is equal to 11.2 decimeter cube or 11.2 liters. Percentage of nitrogen is maximum in. So let's find out the whole percentage. So in NH4 to SO4 we have 2 nitrogen atoms, so they weigh a total of 28 grams divided by the total molar mass of this compound is, for NH4 it is 18 into 2 36 plus 32 we have 68 and 68 plus 64 we have 132. Now for NH4Cl we have 14 grams of nitrogen. 18 grams is total NH4 plus 35.5 grams. So 18 plus 35.5 equals almost 53 grams. Then in NH4 NO3 we have 28 grams of nitrogen divided by total mass is, for NH4 18 grams plus 1 nitrogen 14 more. So it is equal to 32 plus 48 for these oxygens. So 32 plus 48 is equal to 80 grams. Now in NH4 3PO4 we have 3 nitrogens, so it equals 42 grams divided by, we have 3 NH4, so 3 into 18 is equal to 54 plus 31 for phosphorus 85 plus 64 for 4 oxygens. So 85 plus 64 149 grams. So now let's simplify them. This is 28 by 132, this is 28 by 80, so this is smaller, so cut it down. Now comparing these ratios, 42 by 149 is also a smaller option, so cut it down. We are left with 14 divided by 53 and 28 divided by 80. Now simplify 28 divided by 80, so we get 14 divided by 40. So 14 by 40 is a larger option than 14 by 53, so this one is the correct option. Carbonic acid is prepared as carbon dioxide plus H2O forms H2CO3. So we write the equation CO2 plus H2O and it gives us H2CO3. Now if 66 grams of carbon dioxide is mixed with 36 grams of water, the mass of H2CO3 formed is. Now we have to find out the limiting reagent first. So we divide each of them by their molar masses. So it equals 1.5 moles and it equals 2 moles. Now according to balanced chemical equation, 1 mole of carbon dioxide reacts with 1 mole of water. So 1.5 moles of carbon dioxide react with 1.5 moles of water. So we have 2 moles of water, which means water is in excess. So carbon dioxide is the limiting reagent. Now according to balanced chemical equation, 1 mole of carbon dioxide gives 1 mole of H2CO3. So 1.5 moles of carbon dioxide will give 1.5 moles of H2CO3. Now we have to calculate the mass of H2CO3. So we multiply moles with the molar mass of H2CO3. So 48 is the oxygen, 12 is the carbon, 60 total plus हमारे पास 2 for hydrogen. So the molar mass is 62 grams. So multiplying 1.5 by 62, we get 93 grams. So C is the correct option. Burning 24 grams of carbon in excess of oxygen gives 88 grams of carbon dioxide. So we burn carbon in excess of oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Now 24 grams of carbon equal 2 moles of carbon. So now, according to balanced chemical equation, 1 mole of carbon gives 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So 2 moles of carbon would give us 2 moles of carbon dioxide. Now 2 moles of carbon dioxide equal 2 multiplied by 44 grams is equal to 88 grams of carbon dioxide. Now this is the yield that we have calculated theoretically, and here it is given. So this is theoretical yield. Actual yield is always lesser than that. Which rays are not affected by magnetic field? So those rays are not affected by magnetic field which do not carry any charge. So cathode rays are electrons, they are negatively charged. Positive rays are positively charged. Beta rays are also electrons, they are negatively charged. And X-rays are neutral since they are electromagnetic radiations, so they are not affected by magnetic field. Most energetic lines in hydrogen spectrum are, so most energetic lines is Lemon series, which falls from any higher shell to the shell number 1, which is K shell. So Lemon series is the most energetic series. When hydrogen gas is used in discharge tube, the EM value for positive rays obtained is. Now this question has been asked from textbook, and its option is 9.54 into 10 raised to power 7 coulombs per kg. So this is the value for hydrogen. Radius of third shell is how much times greater than that of second shell? So for the ratio of radius, we simply divide larger shell square divided by smaller shell square. So for third shell we write 3 square, and for second shell we write 2 square. So 3 square is 9, 2 square is 4, we get 2.25. So third shell is 2.25 times larger than the second shell. Which subshell is never empty in any element? So the ground state for any element has always one s orbital which always has electrons in it, because 1s is the first orbital to get filled, so it is almost filled in every other element. So 1s is never empty. Two electrons placed in a subshell with L is equal to 0 have different. So L is equal to 0 for s orbital. So when two electrons are placed in s orbital, they are placed with opposite spins, so they have different spin quantum number. So D is the correct option. Which factor does not affect the geometry of molecules? Number of lone pair affects the geometry. Number of surrounding atoms also affects the geometry. Nature of electron pair also affects the geometry. Multiplicity of bonds does not affect the geometry. Vesiper says that multiple bonds behave like single bonds in determining the geometry. So they can affect bond angles, but they do not affect the geometry. Of the given, a bent molecule is. So bent or angular molecules are either AB2E1 or they are AB2E2. So SnCl2 is a type of AB2E1 molecule, so it is bent in nature. A molecule with two covalent and a coordinate covalent bonds is. So if we look at carbon monoxide, so oxygen and carbon have formed two covalent bonds. Now in order to complete 4 electrons of carbon, Oxygen donates one of its electron pairs to carbon. Therefore, carbon monoxide has two covalent and one coordinate covalent bond. Type of hybridization found in pyramidal molecules is, so pyramidal molecules are basically AB3E1 type molecules which have 3 bond pairs and 1 lone pair, so their steric number is equal to 4, therefore they are sp3 hybridized. So C is the correct option. Correct about bonding in NH4Cl. So in NH4Cl we have 3 hydrogens attached through covalent bond with nitrogen. Now nitrogen gives one of its lone pairs to H plus and forms a coordinate covalent bond, and with this positive ammonium ion Cl negative ion attached through an ionic bond. So in this compound we have 3 covalent, 1 dative or coordinate bond and 1 ionic bond, so B is the correct option. Pressure of a gas is 49 torricelli. Its units in pascals is equal to, so we have simply 760 torricelli or 1 atmosphere is equal to 101325 pascals. Now we have 49 torricelli, so 49 torricelli is equal to x pascals. So this x is equal to 101325 multiplied by 49 divided by 760. So we get 6.53 into 10 raised to power 3. If a pressure of a gas becomes 3 times, so pressure is increased 3 times, the volume decreases by 3 times. So if volume decreases by 3 times, so we write 60 divided by 3 is equal to 20 centimeter cube. Which graph can be constructed to judge non-ideal behavior of gases? So in order to judge the non-ideal behavior, we construct a graph between pressure on x-axis and PV by RT, which is equal to compressibility factor on y-axis. On this graph, for ideal gas, we get a horizontal straight line which has a value of 1, but real gases deviate from this behavior according to their own nature. So this graph can be used to judge the non-ideal behavior of gases. The deviation of a gas from ideal behavior is maximum at. So deviation from ideal behavior occurs at higher pressure and lower temperature. So we have to choose the option with higher pressure and lower temperature. So we can see in this option the pressure is highest and the temperature is lowest. So most deviation occurs at this temperature conditions. Molecular weight of a gas that diffuses twice as rapidly as the gas with molecular weight 64. So we can write R1 by R2 is equal to under root molar mass 2 divided by molar mass 1. So now we take the lighter gas as gas 1 and the heavier gas as gas 2. So the heavier gas has molar mass 64, it is gas 2, and the lighter gas has mass unknown. So rate of diffusion of first gas compared to second gas is 2 times. So we can write here molar mass of second gas is 64 and for first gas it is unknown. So now we take m1 to this side, so 2 into under root m1 is equal to under root 64. So now in order to eliminate square roots we take square, so we get 4 into m1 is equal to 64. So m1 is equal to 64 by 4 is equal to 16. So A is the correct option. Root mean square velocity of a gas molecule is equal to. So it is equal to square root of average of square velocities of molecule. So we take average of square velocities. So these are different types of molecule and we are taking squares of their velocity. We divide them with total number of molecules, so we get average of square velocities, and if we take square root of this, so it equals root mean square velocity. So C is the correct option. Hydrogen bonding is found in the pair of. So if we take tertiary amine, so tertiary amine has no hydrogen to form hydrogen bond, but it has nitrogen. So when the nitrogen of tertiary amines react with or interact with hydrogen of water, they form hydrogen bond with each other. So C is the correct option. Which mixture has lesser volume than sum of volumes of both components? So if we look at acetone and chloroform, so acetone does not form hydrogen bond with acetone, and chloroform do not form hydrogen bond with chloroform, but when we mix them together they form hydrogen bond with each other. It means that the forces in acetone and chloroform in mixing after mixing are stronger because they form hydrogen bond. So after their mixing, due to hydrogen bonding, the volume shrinks and it is the lesser than volume of both components. Rate of evaporation is lowest for. So rate of evaporation is lowest for that substance for which the IM forces are maximum. So we can get idea of IM forces from boiling point. So boiling point would be maximum when IM forces are maximum. So among these liquids, C6H6 has highest boiling point of 80.1 degrees centigrade. So its rate of evaporation is lowest. Correct order of heats of sublimation, vaporization and fusion is. So the greatest change that occurs is from solid to gas. So sublimation is the greatest process. So heat of sublimation is greatest. Now after that, converting liquid into gas is more difficult than converting solid into liquid. So vaporization is greater than fusion. So we have heat of vaporization than heat of fusion. So B is the correct option. Which is not an amorphous solid? Gemstone is amorphous solid, coal tar is amorphous solid, glass is amorphous solid, table sugar is basically sucrose. It is a type of crystalline solid which is called a molecular solid, so it is not an amorphous solid. Which phenomenon does not justify anisotropy? Cleavage, electrical conductivity and coefficient of thermal expansion, all of them are examples of anisotropy. Now amorphous crystals are not anisotropic but they are isotropic, so they do not justify anisotropy. Which pair of substances do not show isomerism? So three of them are given in textbook table in the example of isomerism. Therefore, these two pairs are not isomorphs because NaCl is face-centered cubic and CHCl is body-centered cubic. So B is the correct option. Which parameters justify cubic structure? So in cubic structure, all the lengths are same, all the angles are same and 90 degree. So all the lengths same, all the angles same. So this is the correct option. Kc for the reaction. So now this is a homogeneous liquid phase reaction. So for homogeneous liquid phase reaction, we write Kc is equal to concentration of products, which is equal to CH3 COO C2H5 multiplied by concentration of H2O divided by concentration of acetic acid multiplied by concentration of alcohol. So these give us the Kc. So A is the correct option. B is the correct option. If Qc is equal to Kc is greater than Kc, then the direction of reaction is. So when Qc is larger than Kc, in order to make Qc equal to Kc, the reaction reverses. If Qc is smaller than Kc, then in order to equalize Qc to Kc, the reaction goes forward. And if Qc is equal to Kc, the reaction is already at equilibrium. So when Qc is greater than Kc, then it means the reaction reverses. Correct relationship between Kc and Kx is. So now we have relationship between Kp and Kx. So now basically Kp is equal to Kx into RT divided by V raised to the power delta n. So now we have to substitute Kc here. So Kp is basically equal to Kc into RT delta n. So now simplifying it further, we cancel this RT delta n with this RT delta n. So we get Kc is equal to Kx into 1 divided by volume raised to the power delta n. So B is the correct option. In an endothermic reaction, 2N2O5 gets converted into 2N2O4 plus O2 moves forward when? So now this reaction would move forward when the temperature is increased, because for endothermic reaction, increasing the temperature makes the reaction go forward. In what manner will increase in pressure affect the following equation? So now here we have basically carbon in solid form, water in vapor form, then we get carbon monoxide in gaseous form and hydrogen in gaseous form. So now ignoring it, we have 1 mole of reactant and 2 moles of products. So increase in pressure will make the reaction go to the direction where the number of moles is less, so it will shift in the reverse direction. Addition of H plus ion to the buffer leads to. So whenever H plus ions are added to the buffer, so we have 2 things in the buffer. First is the unionized acid and second is the fully ionized salts. So when H plus is added from outside, the CH3COO minus ions join with this H plus and convert it into unionized acid. So it leads to the decrease in concentration of these ions because they are used up. So A is the correct option. What will be the initial rate of reaction if its constant is 10 raised to the power minus 3 minutes and concentration is 0.2 mole per decimeter cube? So we can write rate is equal to rate constant multiply by concentration of reactions. So rate constant is 10 raised to the power minus 3 and concentration of reactants is 0.2. So we get 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 4, which is equal to C. Example of second order reaction is, so this is a question from the book, so this reaction is basically a second order reaction. Increase in which factor leads to decrease in rate of reaction? So increase in temperature increases the rate. Increase in particle size decreases the rate, because when particle size increases, the surface area decreases, so rate of reaction decreases. So B is the correct option. Specific rate constant of a reaction is affected by. So specific rate constant and all the equilibrium constants are affected by changes in temperature only. 1 calorie is equal to, so 1 calorie equals 4.18 joule. So B is the correct option. Which process is endothermic? So now this is also from the book, and from the book this option is given as the endothermic process. Rest of them are exothermic processes. Heat of formation of CH4, CO2, H2O are given. Heat of combustion of CH4 is. Now let's construct the equation for combustion of CH4. So we write CH4 plus 2O2 and they give us CO2 plus 2H2O. This is the heat of combustion equation. So for this equation we can write heat of reaction or heat of combustion is equal to total heat of products minus total heat of reactants. So now heat of products is equal to sum of heat of formation of both of them. So heat of formation of carbon dioxide is minus 394. So for CO2 we write 1 mole of CO2 is being formed. So we write for 1 CO2 minus 394. Then we add, here we are forming 2 moles of water. So heat of formation of water is minus 286. So we write 2 into minus 286. Now we subtract heat of formation of reactants. So for reactants, CH4 has heat of formation minus 74, and for O2, since its element heat of formation is 0, so simplifying it, we get minus 890 kilojoule per mole. Heat of formation is non-zero for graphite and white phosphorus are pure forms of these elements. Sodium in solid form also has zero heat of formation. Diamond has slightly endothermic heat of formation because it is not the purest form of carbon. So it has non-zero heat of formation. 2KMnO4 plus 10Ki plus H2SO4, the reducing agent in the reaction is. So here we look at manganese, its oxidation state is plus 7 and here it gets converted into plus C. So manganese is reduced. Here iodine is minus 1 and here it gets converted into 0. So iodine itself is oxidized, which means that it is reducing KMnO4. So this Ki is basically a reducing agent. So in Ki we have I minus, which behaves as reducing agent. Which of the following reactions occur at cathode? So at cathode, the reaction that occurs is the reduction reaction. So let's find out the reduction reaction among these. So here copper is being reduced by accepting electrons. So this must occur at cathode. Which element has least value of reduction potential? So in electrochemical series, manganese lies below all the others. So it has least electrode potential. Correct anode reaction for primary battery. So this is a question from textbook. In primary battery, zinc is used as anode, and at anode, zinc oxidizes into zinc plus 2 by losing 2 electrons. So B is the correct option. Standard hydrogen electrode has fixed potential of. So for standard hydrogen electrode, we take 0 volts as the fixed potential. So the closest value to that is D. Okay, now here A is being oxidized. So its oxidation potential is negative 0.5. So its reduction potential would be positive 0.5. Here B is being reduced. So its reduction potential is positive 0.2. So its oxidation potential is minus 0.2. Now, if A and B are coupled to form galvanic cell, the EMF would be. Now, the reduction potential is greater for A, so A would get reduced and it would behave as cathode. So we write reduction potential of A here, which is equal to 0.5 volts. Now it automatically means B would get oxidized and oxidation potential of B is minus 0.2 volts. So we write minus 0.2 volts. So total EMF of cell is 0.3 volts. Which molecule contains maximum number of shared pairs? So now maximum shared pairs are present in. For carbon dioxide, we have 4 shared pair of electrons because we have 4 bonds. For SnCl2, we have 2 bonds, so we have 2 shared pairs. For NH3, we have 3 bonds, so we have 3 shared pairs. And for C2H4, we have a total of 6 bonds, so we have 6 shared pair of electrons, so it has maximum shared electrons. Lattice energy is greatest for. So let's compare NaBr with KBr. So Na is smaller, potassium is larger, so this is ruled out. Then LiCl versus NaBr, here this is large and here sodium is large, so this is also ruled out. Now we are stuck between NaF and LiCl. Sodium is larger, lithium is smaller, but here fluorine is smaller and chlorine is larger. So in such comparisons, when we have to decide between fluorine and chlorine, we prefer the option of fluorine over chlorine, so A is the correct option. Geometry of molecule according to Vesiper is decided by. So geometry according to Vesiper is decided by the bond pairs and the lone pairs surrounding the central atom. So A is the correct option. Maximum number of atoms are found in. So in 18 gram of H2O, we have 18 grams divided by 18 grams 1 mole. In 1 mole, we have 3 atoms total. So this is the number of atoms in H2O. For 49 grams of H2SO4, given mass 49, molar mass 98, per molecule there are 7 atoms. So we have 0.5 into 7 into Avogadro's number. For 20 gram of calcium hydroxide, we write given mass 20 grams, molar mass of calcium hydroxide is 40 for calcium, 16 for oxygen, 56 plus 1 hydrogen, 57. So in 1 calcium hydroxide, we have total of 3 atoms. So we have 20 by 57 roughly equals 20 by 60, which equals 0.3 into 3 into Avogadro's number. Then for 12 grams of H2, we have 12 divided by 2, 6 moles, multiply by, we have 2 atoms in each molecule. So we have 6 into 2 into Avogadro's number. So this value is largest, so it contains the maximum number of atoms. That's all for this lecture. Thank you.